Hi, everyone. Dom Famularo here, and this is so great that I have the chance of sitting down with all of these great drummers globally, that I get the chance to step into their mind and enjoy the journey of being able to share that with everyone that is joining us here. And today, I've got Craig Blundell. Craig, thank you so much for joining me.
What a pleasure. Good to see you, Dom. Hey, everybody.
This is great that we have this opportunity, Craig, because your name comes up as I travel the globe. And even now that I'm not traveling the globe since March, your name still comes up all the time of being this incredibly positive, energized, a real clear educator in how you're teaching. You have set a new standard that is really exciting the drumming community.
Oh man, that's so kind, Dom. Thank you. It was one of my dreams just, to be an inspiration to people, and if I can just be that, then what a gift that is.
Well, the gift has been received because you're doing that right now, which is really, really fantastic. But I want everyone to kind of get to know you at a level that you started at a really young age. 3 years old? How the hell did that happen?
Oh, right. So, so my mom and dad were friends with a guy who was in quite a famous band at the time called the Swinging Blue Jeans in the UK. And they wrote the Hippie Hippie Shake, really badass 60s, 70s band. And the drummer, Ian McGee, became close friends with my dad and a couple of other pals. And he used to come off tour and just give me sticks and cymbals and broken drum heads. And at that age, like bam, bam, just hitting stuff. And it completely started the fascination for me. And I was hooked from such an early age, that was it. And I still kind of tenuously remember, like going back all of those years, I remember being a kid on mom's floor and hitting all of these cymbals and knowing that I just loved the sound. And that was it. That was it. I knew I was never going to be anything academic. So that pretty much set my stall out fairly early, Dom.
Well, you've actually shown the world, and specifically the drumming community, that not only are you a fantastic player, but you are very academic, because what you're doing with your educational stuff, your Masterclass series, what you're doing with this really is at a high level that is lifting drummers worldwide. And
Thanks,
that to me is really academic at a very, very high level.
Thank you, man. That means a lot. As we'll probably speak about later on, I really wanted to do this. Coming back off tour and when the whole world kind of just went upside down, it was kind of like, right, what am I going to do? Coming back with a dry diary and thinking, I've done so many drum festivals and so many drum clinics, and I've been on tour for the best part of 5-6 years. I love education. I love teaching. So how can I do this, but make it just different to anyone else and make it more immersive? And, this new baby was born, and I'm diversifying still. I'm still learning so many things every week, but I'm so grateful. Do you know what, Dom? I'm grateful just to be working. We have this chat before, what a gift.
It's a gift, but that gift has to be earned, and you have earned that. So let's go back a little bit. So now you're young, you're playing drums. Were you listening to anybody, any music or any specific drummers at that time at a young age?
I remember so early on, like delivering my papers and the milk to all the residents. My first kind of memory was listening to a load of jazz fusion stuff, like listening to like Weather Report, and then Yes, which got me down the prog route, and then discovered Rush, and then the great Tony Williams, and all of those kind of amazing band, Earthworks with Bruford, and right. I was never going to go down a normal path, I was never going to go down an accessible pop music path with the stuff that I used to listen to. And my dad used to listen to bands like Supertramp and all of that sort of stuff. So, yeah. And then I went down the kind of spotty teenager, long-haired route and started listening to Maiden and Metallica and really got into Rush. And then I started to really appreciate the drummers. Like I didn't know what was going on, but I knew I loved it. It resonates, but I just was out of my depth, so that's what started the fascination of studying and finding out. And I knew that very early on, it was always going to be more progressive, much more progressive is the line I wanted, slightly left of center. Let's put it that way.
Well, that progressive energy, which you do so well. And listen, it's intense. It's highly intellectual, equally to that emotional part of it. So there's a real balance of how you have to have that level of how you have to listen to people to understand that. So you mentioned someone like Tony Williams. I mean, Tony, who I had known, was another one of those people that was highly intellectual and very emotional in his music, but you seem to kind of found that in players and you've pulled that from them. How did you learn to draw that from these great players?
Well, it's interesting. I mean, it's like there's great drummers and then there's great music. You just have to look that little bit deeper and see what they give to the music. Like Tony was not only a great drummer, but he was a world-class composer. I mean, a staggering composer. You got Neil, God rest his soul. Neil, not just a great drummer, an amazing musician, an amazing top-line writer, an amazing lyricist. Yeah. So once you start digging deeper into the persona of these amazing peers of ours, you start to appreciate the level of work that it takes to be a multi-instrumentalist or multifaceted player. Like I see drummers like Gary Husband, people like that I really regard as like real A-list musicians, like Marco and Gavin, people like that. And it's taking the instrument, but taking it to a new level in terms of composition, whether it be going education route, whether it be going multi-instrumentalist, whether it be going melodic, whatever it takes. So for me, it was not just listening to the band, it was listening to the drummer and seeing exactly if somebody else was in that drum chair, how would that band change? And then you realize, oh my God, how much would that band change? And that's when you start to really appreciate the value of the musicality of my heroes, of your heroes, of the people that have shaped modern music. And I think people spend too much time thinking about end product rather than what it takes to get to end products. And like we say, it's all about education. If you listen that little bit deeper, you really, 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 really can unearth some gold,
Well, when you talk about names like Gavin Harrison and Marco Minimum and Neil Peart, these are very deep people.
For sure.
And I think you totally fit in that range of a deep thinker, where you step into something and you really put all that you have into that song, that arrangement, that masterclass, whether it's just a drumming idea, you really immerse yourself fully into it. Where do you think that came from?
I mean, my background when I was 16, I joined the military. I was a Marine. So I joined the Marines, and I messaged him the other day. I was so privileged to have a couple of lessons with the great Jim Kilpatrick, like hands for life. And that changed like everything, not just like play a paradiddle, but like, this is going to last you forever, forever. And if you're prepared to put that little bit of hard work in, you will reap the rewards. And I remember, once again, I'm sure we'll talk about it down the roadmap of this crazy career. I remember walking out on my very first gig, and I'd taken over from Marco Miniman on the Stephen Wilson tour in Chile. And I'd never been in a band. I've always tried to be professional and stuff. I've never been in a band that has such a bizarre, amazing, but bizarre following. And I've never been so prepared, but yet so underprepared in all my life. Yeah. And I walked out onto that stage and I heard all this noise on my left, looked out, and it crippled me. I sat down to play. I'm like, my hands just feel like jelly. Like nothing's gonna happen. And I realized very early on, like 2015, that I was just simply not good enough. I was not good enough. And these past 5 years, I've worked so hard. Everyone works hard, but I've worked harder these past 5 years and dedicate literally every hour to my craft, because it would be life-changing if I lost the gigs, or lost those world tours. So I've realized that, you don't get many opportunities to be on the world stage or to simply pay the bills in music. So I love it. I absolutely live. I'm so immersed in what I do, and I'm so proud of what I do. I never want to sit and play, and like I've been recording this stuff today, I never want to sit and be the same player I was yesterday. I always want to push forward, and that can be quite tiring, and it can be like some days you feel like, ugh, but I know I still have goals I want to achieve, so I'm going to keep pushing as much as I possibly can.
But that really is a very self-empowering and self-motivating philosophy that not everybody has. People sometimes get drained and get disempowered, and then just sit back and say, "Oh man, I'm done. I can't deal with this." Yeah. But you have a way that's an ingredient that I want people to really understand and analyze. So 16 Marines,
Yep.
the Royal Marine Corps band you're playing.
Yeah.
When you came out of that, what was your first professional band after that?
Well, so I came out of that thinking I'm going to be this crazy cool rock star. And boy, that failed so hard. I was in the Royal Marines, and I thought, no, what I want to be is the new word at the time was a session. I'm going to do air quotes, all right? So it's going to be you're going to be a session drummer because there's millions of sessions and there's no session musicians, and I'm going to go to Nashville because there's no drummers in Nashville. And it was like, what a doofus I was, like really, like so naive and so not that good. I just had this thing that like, well, I've come out the Marines, I've done all of this stuff, I've got these amazing hands, therefore give me the best gigs on the planet. And oh my God, how wrong I was, so it pretty much fell off a cliff for quite a few years, man. And I just scraped around, and then pretty much then it was like, right, I've got to get a day job. I'm going to have to get a day job. And that's what I did. And then I started gigging around London in like a 60s covers band for like, I don't know, 20, 30 bucks a gig or whatever, pounds, 20 pounds, whatever. Yeah. And it was soul destroying, but I was still playing music. So I'd go to work, take my shirt and tie off on a Friday and Saturday night, go and play, drive through the night, come back, do the gigs again. And what I didn't appreciate is at the time is that I was learning my trade. And then it really hit me when it came to doing a jazz gig for the first time. And it was like I was holding concrete, hitting the right cymbals, clang, 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 clang. I'm like, I really do suck. I really do suck at this instrument so bad. It was like, I need to work and work. And that was that was my path through my 20s and 30s, Dom. I'd get in a band with a record deal. I was like, yeah, let's do this. And then it would fall apart. I'd be like, okay, back to work. And then get in a band that did all kind of the wedding circuit. And then that will all dry up. So I was literally jobbing for 15 years all the time. Excuse me. All the time, just having a day job and holding it down because music simply, I knew I wanted to play progressive music, and literally the amount of opportunities to play progressive music were pretty much zero, and we're all taken up. I mean, when you got like Gavin and Gary Husband and the great John Heisman, and you had John Marshall, you got all of these guys that are like, they can play everything like one-footed fast. You can play any four limbs together. So I realized that I've got to get the respect, serve my time, and do my apprenticeship. And it's the best thing I ever did. I wanted it so quickly, but I was never prepared. And even to 2015, sat on that drum chair at the Teatro Metropolitan or whatever it was in Chile on this world tour, I was still underprepared. And that was the best lesson ever. Never sit on that drum throne thinking, right, I'm going to own this, until you really are in control and you really are like, I'm playing how I want to play. And it's still a work in progress, man. It's still a work in progress.
But I love the fact that you're mentioning names like Gary Husband, for example. Gary Husband, sure. A monster musician.
Yeah.
Piano, drums, arranging. Out of the mind of Gary Husband always comes great music. And
sure.
I remember hearing Gary when he was playing with Billy Cobham.
Yeah.
I mean, it was always, an incredibly enlightened experience musically. It was always fantastic. So you put yourself around musicians that really are, fully encompassed in drumming and music. That is really very, very important.
It's just thinking that a little bit deeper. If I'm thinking of players like Tony, like yourself, like Vinny, like those guys who are my peers and just amazing musicians. It's that headspace. It's that thinking all the time. You can see the worry. You can hear the freedom in their, not just chops, but their groove. You can hear the freedom. You can hear they've done all the work. You can hear years and years and years and years of ups and downs. You can hear it in their playing. Just let's open and let's just express. And when they express, it's like, what the hell was that? I love that. Having that total expression, that wonderful, you can see that everyone's worked on foundations. So the end result is just this musicality on a scale that is mere mortal, and that's insane.
Well, we have people that are joining us on this here. And when I look at when I scroll this down, we've got people from literally all around the world that are listening to you speak right now. And I want them to really kind of understand the depth of, so you're doing all these different dates, you're doing all these, then where do you think what was that first commitment? Like when you started subbing the state in Chile, was that the beginning of, I'm going to turn this flame on all the way?
Absolutely. It was exactly that. And bear in mind, Stevens had Marco Miniman, he's had Gavin Harrison, Chad Wackerman, Chris Mack. He had the most amazing players at the time. And he gets me. We always spoke about it, and it was 3 weeks after I was on the drum chair for the first time. Bear in mind, it was a weird old time because we only got 2 days rehearsal for this huge world tour. Because I got the call to cover Chad Wackerman with Jennifer Batten and Stu Ham on this crazy jazz fusion power trio. So off I was going to Germany, learning it on. So I had no prep to do for the Stevens stuff at all. So I did the thing in Chile, and it was about 3 weeks later, and I'll never forget it. I was Best Buy, Times Square. And Jordan Rudess was there, and everyone, Omar Hakim was there, with Rachel Z was there, and I was like, oh my God, like completely beating myself up, sweaty palms, like Omar's right there, and I can see Jordan Rudess, and I'm just like, no. I'm like, what have I got to lose? I'm just going to play the pants off this. So I knew the material. We were about 15 gigs down, and I remember after the show that I would, my boss at the time came up to me and just said, like, you killed it tonight. That's more like it, because I was going to get fired. I've been very open about that. Steven was going to fire me. I wasn't good enough. He's used to a level of, there's a level of pro, and then there's a level of pro, which is like right at the very top, as you know, and I wasn't there, and not saying where there's any pecking order. I just was not there. So I knew I had to work harder, like on the tour bus every day in the hotel. Like, come on, let's not just play this bar of 17. Let's own this bar of 17, and let's play music. Don't be scared of the time signature or the dots or the audience. That's it. And it was fairly life-changing for me, really, really life-changing. And since that, when I've had work playing with, got the call with Steve Hackett doing all the Genesis stuff, and I wasn't scared anymore. I wasn't scared, it's just my feet on the floor. I was more confident. I was more secure in myself as a player and as a musician. And I felt like I had a sound. For once, I had actually had a sound, Dom, rather than the playing drum set, you're really digging the best out of that set, it's like, he has a sound, he has something. And so it's still a work in progress though, man. It never ends.
It's a fantastic work in progress, and you are working it, and you are progressing. So it's really kind of great to watch your career the way it is. So where did the jingles and some of the TV stuff come in with BBC? Where'd that fit in?
That was pretty crazy. Well, a couple of things. Like before I went down prog, I used to be into the kind of drum and bass jungle stuff, like KJ Sorka and what he would do beautifully. And I used to work with an artist called Rebel MC, or Congo Natty's. He's like a huge jungle sort of guy, and he used to do all this crazy stuff. And I used to watch him compose in Brixton. I was like, I can do that. I can get a Mac and get a MIDI keyboard, and I can start composing. So, you start learning and then. In my time in Frost, a band I played with, I'm very proud of my time in Frost. The guy who run Frost, Jam, he basically did loads of jingles for BBC, like radio and that sort of stuff. So I did all.
What year was that?
Yeah, got me in there. Did the jingles for Radio 2, and then I started writing my own. I was like, I can do this, and I've done quite a few TV themes and stuff since on my own, which is kind of rewarding. You switch the TV on, I was like, oh, I did that. That's kind of cool. And it's not just drums; it's like it's keys and bass and guitar.
Yeah. So what year was that when you were working?
That was 2008, 2009, where that kind of really started, and just trying to expand musically that little bit more.
So how's that work out? Like if BBC wants a TV or a radio jingle, how's it work out? They approach you with an idea, and then you have to submit suggestions, or?
It depends. I mean, sometimes if you're doing, like I'm doing something with a friend of mine at the moment that's based on science. So they'll give you a brief and they'll say, right, okay, we want something around science or technology. So you'll go away and create like 3, 4, 5 hours of 20-second, 40-second, a minute snippets of all of these sound bites, and they'll just say, right, we love section A, we love section B, not sure on section C, D. Can you expand on this? So we started. I mean, The friend I'm working with is actually quite a famous actor, but he's an amazing musician, and he does all of these like voiceovers and jingles. So we've got this little, and we do it remotely. I mean, although he's only just up the road, we just bounce files all day long. So like, yeah, that's great. That's cool. Want some 70s stuff? So I'll get all the kind of tea towels and put it all over the drum set and channel my Bevan coming up, you know. So it's just, you know, as we spoke about earlier before we're live, it's this year's been sink or swim and all about diversity and. You know, just trying to be different. That's it. Just trying to be different and simply getting through. That's it.
So I'm assuming that you probably compose some things and you save that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Hard drive after hard drive. Right.
So
because you never know what's going to come out, because you never know when you're going to need it. You never know, like, oh, I've got something. I'll go to my science geeky file, or I'll go to my electronica file, or I'll go to my file and blah, blah, blah. It might be, you know, like I've done some stuff for Mapex recently where I've been composing, you know, tracks. They've been based off maybe jingles or a hook. So I'll always keep it because it's important and never really throw anything away, because you never know when you're going to need it. You know, you never know.
But you have to file all this stuff. You know, I had the chance of interviewing Stuart Copeland. He does the same thing.
Amazing.
And he recomposes something. He's got to file it. So you have to have a really organized way of filing things and labeling it and know where it is. And
yeah, I'm a geek, man. I'm such a geek. Like the Masterclass stuff, I've got everything I've recorded, like all the dots. I've got my books here. The Masterclass guys know it, but I have all my books, all my rough, and then it all goes into this filing cabinet of hands, feet, blah. Steve Hackett, this tour. So I even if it's like I've not played those guys for 3 or 4 years, I go to my geek cabinet, pull it out, and I know it's and I'll remember, because I color code everything, so everything is, and I'll remember the colors when I wrote them. I'll remember the room I was in, everything. So I kind of I can scan the dots rather than just black and white dots. I'll scan it; it'll be color coded, and I'll remember where I was and when I charted it. I'm proper geek.
Well, I want people to realize that geek ability takes an amazing amount of discipline and organizational skills. So were you always like that? Were you always an organized person that way?
Not really. I think it's something that I've come to as, you know, I think it was forced upon me a little bit, Dom, is that I, at any one time, probably about 5 or 6 years ago, I had like 4 or 5 whole sets in my mind, and all progressive bands. Like if I was doing Wilson into Frost, into Hackett, into something else, into an album, you know, you know, the album stuff, like I played on nearly 20 albums since lockdown started. So I've had to learn really quickly and file it really quickly, rather than, because everything is quick, get it done, get it efficient, get it done, get it efficient. So I could spend all day grooving it and learning it and working it, or I could just say, right, color code it, put it in, mind map those colors or that shape or the shapes, I put them in and just play. Like I know this section's a triangle because it's 3 prongs. So 3 prongs is a little bit spiky. I know this section might have seven prongs. So this is really difficult, and it's red. It's really difficult. I know this section's a circle in green, so it's easy. So I kind of use shapes and colors for everything. So I could pretty much go and do a gig with anyone I played with now for the past 3 or 4 years, and remember it, you know, because I can channel the dots and remember it. And it's nothing special. I've just learnt it that way, you know, just by being, I guess, being busy, and just, I need a more efficient way than having a pad of 70 or 80 tunes just in black and white. I've had to kind of memorize that and learn it and take it on board, because, you know, every day here is pretty much a recording day or an R&D day or a masterclass day, or something's different. And you'd simply fall apart. I need to be in control, or I would just fall apart with it, you know?
Well, you found a great organizational. It's a process that you had to come up. You know, I used to get a kick out of someone like Elvin, who always talked about, he played the drums and he saw colors, and those colors brought him to different areas of the music. And really what you're doing is, it's kind of like that. You're finding colors that remind you of certain feelings and emotional, you know, dramistic or musical explanations, and you're logging that in. That's really special.
Thank you, man. I do that a lot, and I always say as well is that also as well. I mean, I use the colors thing, I use the shapes thing for the amount of spikes or the amount of not spikes. I also write on my toms. I number my toms. So at the start of the 2nd rotation, or the 4th or the 5th rotation, I'll look at the number 5, and it's there, it's done. I know, okay, I know that I'm on the floor tom rotation, or the gong drum rotation, or if I'm running out, I'll number all my cymbals as well. So it might be a bit tricky and might be something else, or a time signature. I know that my left crash over there is that crash that I hit when I start that 17-16 phrase. So there's a 17 on the crash. So I number everything. I'm getting older, man. So, things start to drip out the ears a little bit more. So whatever it takes, because, when I'm in here recording an album or on the stage, it's very, very easy. Although I'm concentrating, I'm full on. It's very easy to get distracted. It could be a monitor glitch. It could be anything. And I never want to give up on a take, or I never want to give up on something that's organically or musically good for one bar that I've played bad. So I'll have all these memory processes that will get me out of the nasty stuff pretty much really. So I kind of number everything. Yeah, that's it.
Well, listen, if there's a type A personality for being a geek, you have taken this to like a triple A personality. So we're at a much higher level of what you brought this to.
Oh, bless. Our old friend Pete Lewis has just commented. Do you remember Pete from Sound Attack?
Pete, let me bring him up here. See what I got here.
When the world is back to normal, you guys must do a clinic together. How good would that be, right?
I would love that. Pete Lewis
That'd
is
be like an 8-hour drum clinic.
Fantastic, Pete. Thanks so much for joining. He's got a great drum shop. He's just a great person. And talk about somebody who's positive and happy all the time. He's a leading force for us in the drumming industry for sure.
Absolutely. I've got two guys that I've seen on the feed pop up. Pete, who I bought my first kit from in 1993. I went to see him and he looked after me, and it's always a privilege to go back and see him and Scott. They're amazing. And Andy Anderson up at Drum Shop in Gateshead.
Yeah.
Just two real industry stalwarts, but don't just sell drums. They're immersed in it and they'll go the extra mile. And I love those two so much. They're amazing.
But both of them have been leaders of the community that for generations they have given us the tools to live our passion. They are great people. They are welcoming, and they know the product so well that when you go there, they know exactly how to direct you and how to inspire you to give you what you really need.
Absolutely. Do you know, the times I've been up to see Andy on tour, we've played the Sage at Gateshead, and I'll always go and see the store and have a cup of tea with the guys. I always feel embarrassed, like my drum history, and I'm a collector. I've got so much stuff. And then he's like, I've got this and I've got this. And you can see me glazing over. And it's almost like, what, you don't know your 1973 badge from a Ludwig, like grommet screw and stuff? I'm like, come on. These guys are so immersed in it, it's amazing. Yeah, I love it.
And that's real drum geekdom. That's really where they get into that really geekdom area of what.
Yeah, it is, man. And Don, with things being so tight now, and obviously a massive global recession happening, and we need our shops more than ever. And so lucky on my travels in the States, when I spent a lot of time in the States, so touring, getting to see these most, like from Denver, Rups, the guys at Rups, all those guys down there really love drums, rather than just the big chains, the guys that are really on the front line. And they're the guys that have supported me from the very start, like from the very, very start. And, even looking now, and Bob Terry, God, I love that guy. Bob's here. And, Martin and Paul, all the guys from Korg, they've supported me so much. And, I've got so much to thank Bob for, especially with this blooming drum. He was like instrumental in getting this together. So, I'm so grateful for the support that the UK has shown me, like unbelievable. Well, we've got a gig then. When this happens, we're going out, it looks like.
We're doing it, man, for sure.
Great,
So
great.
Let's talk about the pandemic now. The pandemic hits,
Yeah.
it takes us all down. We're secluded where you are, but you have maintained an intense schedule of how many albums? 20 albums since the pandemic hit?
Nearly 20 albums, 20 projects I played on now. Yeah.
That is fantastic.
I think 4 or 5 have been released already, yeah.
And let's talk about that for a second, because then I want to get into the masterclasses on the Sunday masterclasses, which is a whole nother thing that you're doing. But so in this pandemic, you get your studio set up, you put this together, recording, video, you've got this whole massive studio set up. Just give me a little tour and explanation of the studio.
So I have 2 studios, and this has taken forever to kind of get together. To be honest, to get together. I have a lower, which is like the study, which is like the electronics room. So everything is completely silent. So I'm fully mic'd up. All the 4K cameras are on. It's blackout curtain. So I've just played at PASIC this weekend coming, or next weekend coming. Yeah. I've just done my appearance at PASIC in my study, which is like so weird, so strange. It's so strange. It's so beautiful to be invited to play, but so weird. And then I have this setup, which is essentially the acoustic room, and I have a couple of design lag kits. So I've got my Versatus from the Hackett Tour, I've got my Cherry Bomb, which I switch out, and then I've got the Saturn Evo, which went up today. So this is exactly what it does on the tin. It's fully Neumann and Sennheisered up, and you know, so the pandemic happened. I was in Philadelphia, and we were like mid tour with Steve Hackett, playing with this amazing band and selling out venues all over the world, and due to finish the States and then go to Japan and Australia and New Zealand.
Yeah.
And then this tragedy happened, and it was like, we got a day's notice, like, you're leaving. So got home really, really tired, thinking, right, and all my gear was trapped over there. Went to SIR in Chicago and stayed there forever. And it was like, right, what am I going to do? And I think like we were all thinking, like, it's going to pass, it'll be fine, it's going to go. And I was literally like, I've got nothing in the diary for the first time in like 6-7 years. I'm like, how am I going to pay my bills in a few months' time? What am I going to do? There's no gigs. Well, I don't know. And I've got no music. And I was like, right, okay, back to the day job like the old days. And that's absolutely fine. I'm not proud. And if I have to do it, then that's what I will do. And I just thought, I was sat and I had this amazing technology. Obviously, I'm not here to plug Roland, but they've been so very supportive of me. And I've been, working with those guys for like 18, 19 years. And they said, look, we've got some stuff that might be interesting of you. And I had most of it anyway for my R&D work and development of certain drums and stuff. So they sent me these amazing video switchers. And I'm like, right, what if I was to create like the world's most immersive masterclass?
Yeah. That
people could come and... At this stage, by the way, people were losing their minds, and I would go on to like, I've never been one for drum forums, and I kind of shy away from social media anyway now. I'm not that sort of person, and I was seeing this negativity turn, and we spoke about before, drummers going on and saying such crap about other drummers and we're talking about Gad, or we're talking about these amazing players, and I was like, I want to create a community that's fully inclusive and everyone is respective, irrelevant of age, irrelevant of ability, irrelevant of how long they've been playing. Yeah. I wanted to create a community where every Sunday, as a bit of a distraction, they could come and learn in a really immersive and inclusive environment where it's not just, and the masterclass is quite misleading because the masterclass is like a drummer playing and showing. I wanted to open up with a track, finish with a track, and then everything is between is all about them. Everything is all about their journey, and is what they want to do. So I started thinking, all right, Craig Blundell, Worldwide Weekend Masterclasses, thinking, what can I do here? And then I got this video switcher and started to work with all these graphics, and then put this one whiteboard up and put a camera on the whiteboard, and then they can take screen grabs of this whiteboard. That'd be quite cool, wouldn't it, during the lesson? And then I started writing things out on a piece of paper, and I thought I could send them to that after the lesson. Fast forward 28 weeks, and there's whiteboards everywhere. Everything's in 4K. Everything is mixed and almost mastered. They get an early bird email after, and it's the community steadily growing. Every Sunday they come in and we have this beautiful service on Vimeo. I do 2 masterclasses, one for UK and right, one for the UK and left. So all my American colleagues and friends come and study in the afternoon. And everything is composed. So I do 3 or 4 things that day, challenges they have to do. But everything is on a different tempo. We work up, everything's pre-written up. But they get it all in PDF straight after the lesson. They get all the backing tracks after the lesson. They get a play-along challenge. All the bands I've been playing with, I try and get drumless tracks and talk them through it. I do iconic play-alongs with my favorite drummers. So it's not been done before because it's completely immersive. And we have this private Facebook group. Once you've been in a class, you can come into this private Facebook group and they all share their challenges every week. Not one troll, not one negative word. Yeah. And the best thing for me, Dom, as it would be for you, because we spoke about it, is everyone's just getting better and having a great time doing it. And I'm super proud of it. I never thought it would take off. And I've done it on my own. I've not done it without the backing of anyone. I did it all on my own. Roland had been amazing, but nobody really has pushed it. It's not an affiliation. And I've done all the admin myself. And my hair comes out in clumps every Sunday morning before I go live, spending 4 or 5. It takes me about 25, 30 hours a week putting it all together. I have a little writing room outside the studio that I write their challenges for the week, and then I write the backing tracks, export them at 10 BPM intervals. So they get about, every week they get about between 700 to probably a gig's worth of content every week on a download. Yeah. And then after the lesson, they can download the video so they can refer back to it, which is amazing. It's I'm super proud of it. I'm so proud of it. Like,
boy, you have really embraced 21st century technology in our craft to the highest level. And I know the Roland switcher that you have, these pandemic is over, this will still be a part of our teaching and how we have it, as I have in my studio here. Can you just do an overhead shot of the
So essentially, I have these setups. So I can obviously switch to the camera over there all in real time. If I wanted to, I can add like feet on the insert. I can add little slides. So if I wanted to put, let's say, a Masterclass slide up, I can put the Masterclass slide up back to me, or I can go over that side. Or when I'm working in real time, I'll have 2 4K cameras on whiteboards, and I'll be presenting. And by the side of the whiteboards, I have a monitor so I can see everyone talking. So I get, and everything, I'm on wireless, like everything's wireless. My ears are wireless, my lapel is wireless. So I can walk around the whole room. Great. And different parts of the room have monitors, so I can see everybody. I can interact with everybody, so I don't just have to be at the drum set, Great. And what they're seeing when they're part of the masterclass is an end product. It's like an end video. Because of the production levels, it's all pre-mixed, so it's all done pretty much perfectly. And it took me about 3 weeks to mix it properly and get it exactly how I wanted to.
So you really embraced the technology part of it, as far as really being able to have accessibility. And listen, I've been teaching online for 20 some odd years, and the cameras had to change. I mean, I started with beta cameras, which was the size of a freaking minivan, So nice. It started there. And in time, then we went to VHS, then we went to high 8, then super 8, and the cassettes got a little smaller, and it just took time to evolve. But you're really now at a place where this is really well needed now to transfer education and inspiration globally. You have nailed it. It's beautiful.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I mean, it was always part of my plans. I've always gone on record saying, I love playing live. I love playing live. But it's not my favorite thing. It's not, I suffer with tremendous anxiety and stage fright. I get really bad stage fright. It's in check now, but I don't always enjoy the experience. I don't always relive the experience. And I've played some amazing venues like the Royal Albert Hall several times with Hackett and with Wilson. And I've done all these life-changing gigs, and I'm super thankful. But my real energy and where I'm at my best is here. Like making albums, is putting drums on records that I can be so proud of, and sharing my passion with people. And nothing, like we said before, nothing makes me happier than when you get a message at the stage door and you've got a guy that wants an autograph on his drum head, and he's like 7 or 8 years old with his dad, and I'm your favorite drummer. I mean, what? That was me. That was me. So to have to be role models for drummers, for children, for the next generation, it's kind of what I wanted. I wanted to be on the front cover of a magazine. I always wanted to be on the front cover of Rhythm magazine. Always, and Modern Drummer and Drumhead. Always wanted to, and done that. And that was like amazing tick, and I'll never forget it. But I get a real kick out of being a role model for somebody saying, right, that's what it takes, that level of dedication, and for somebody to look up to you. And that's all I ever wanted, that is it. These instruments, amazing, and Mapex I put on my media today is that, they've supported me like unbelievably, from the signature line to all of these amazing drum sets I have, and they support me all over the world, and I'm so grateful. But the biggest kick I get is that smile on someone's face, and we're like, I got your drum head on my wall, or I went to your masterclass and it's changed my life, or this or that, and it's just like, that's what we live for. That's certainly what I love,
Well, listen, it's the power of purpose, which you clearly have a purpose in your life that gives you value and that inspires people to aspire. And I think that's really what you're doing, Craig. You're inspiring people to aspire. Inspiration is when you lift somebody up. Aspiration is when they walk away and they continue to lift themselves up. That's aspiration. And that's what I see you doing from all the different drums that I meet globally that have passed through the portals of just your life, which is fantastic. And the reason why this company supports you is because you are that level of a role model that's totally delivering great music. You are totally involved in each individual personally because you're lifting them up. And that's why even a company like Mapex, I think it was 2004 you had joined Mapex.
That's right. Yeah, I remember it.
Let's talk about the drums for a second. What drum set do you have behind you? Is that the Evolution?
So this is the Evo. Now, this is the most tenuous link. Bear with me, right? So I'm not going to give you the long story. I've always wanted a yellow drum set, right? From my Tony days, channeling my inner, playing Snake Oil or Protocosmos. Always wanted a yellow drum set. Now, obviously, Tony at age 16, 17 played with Miles, who we all know we don't have to go there. Now, I got the deep privilege on the Stephen Wilson tour, and he's still a dear friend of mine, playing with the great Adam Holzman, who was Miles's keyboard player and MD for many years, and pretty much one of the most badass keys on the planet right now. Lives up your way in New York. And after Adam and my dear friend Nick Beggs, the bass player played with everybody, has basically said, can we do this trio record? We want to create King Crimson meets Weather Report meets Return to Forever meets all this crazy stuff. I'm like, right, okay. So this is my opportunity to get a yellow kid in the studio, right? So I'm like, Tony, channeling Tony, Protocosmos. So bless his heart, I spoke to Martin. I spoke to Potts and I was like, Martin, I know I've got to do some videos for the Saturn series, for the Evo, because it's a great drum set. And of course, I can't be in the studio with everybody all the time. So I'm going to have to do it from here for the guys, which is absolutely brilliant. Yeah. So this turned up on Thursday. On Christmas Day doesn't even come close. Well, this is like, oh, shiny. But I was like, I still get super excited about gear, you know? And it's an amazing drum set. And I've got, you see behind me, I've got what did I get? A Predator. So I got the Predator, I got this beautiful cop. I got the Predator on here, which I recorded the Backstage album on, which the great Chris Lord Alge mixed. Yeah, he mixed and out of this room. So we did this, and that album was launched in September. I recorded this beauty on it, and then so I used this, and it just sounds great in this room. And then obviously, I've got to mention that my
talk about the machine. Yes, talk about the machine. Great drum.
Thank you so much. And I owe a lot to Bob Terry with this project, and Russ Miller. I mean, there's not very many artists that will get a signature product out there. And this isn't a sales pitch. This is my Mapex hat firmly on the floor. This knocked me literally sideways, absolutely sideways when I was asked to be the face of a drum for Mapex. You know, I'm very passionate about the brand, and people know that. And a lot of guys have replicated my setups over the years, of which I can't get my head around that. You know, it's amazing. I'm just an independent drummer. So when I was asked by Martin, he'd been out to Taiwan, and Russ was like, "We've got this drum in mind, and we'd love Craig to be one of the faces of it." I was like, "Wow, what? Really?" Now, my idea with a signature product, you only really get one chance at it. In my mind, you only get one chance, and then people instantly jump to conclusions straight away. I didn't want a vanity project, Dom. I didn't want a drum that was pink and shiny and have all this. I wanted a drum that in 20 years' time would still be a workhorse. That was all I ever wanted. I didn't want to be a drum that was just going to essentially be something I love that would be gathering dust on all the drum stores around the planet. I want people to play it, tune it, love it, as you know, and so this was created, and I wanted a dark drum. I wanted a walnut. I didn't want anything garish because I'm pretty much a geeky guy. This is the brightest kit I've ever had. But I always wanted something dark, just not to be a focal point, but something like, what the hell is that? What is that? Yeah. So I got sent a prototype, and we've done quite a few changes on it, and we've sent back and forth. And Chris Brady, Aquarian, sent me every Aquarian head they've ever made, and I took it on tour with all these different head configurations, blah, 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 blah. And we changed the pure sounds. Obviously, we had the trick throw, and then I used it on the Hackett tour, and I had to wrap it in gaffer tape so nobody could see it. So I just thought, what's he playing? I burn him. What is he playing? So I had to kind of cover it all the time in silver gaffer tape so it looked like an aluminium drum. So I road tested it, and the machine was born. And I'm beyond proud of this drum. Like literally, it's my first signature drum, and what an honor for somebody like Mapex to get behind me and have that faith in me, you know. And I know already so many people have added this to their collection. It's arriving in the States, I think, next month, and it's back order here in the UK, which is like, really? It's just like,
Absolutely. I already have several students that have it on order for sure.
oh,
And
no way.
out of the mind of Craig Blundell, because what you've done is now the wood is maple,
Walnut maple. Yeah.
walnut
Yeah.
maple.
Yeah.
And is the shell thin or thick? How would you
It's
describe
thin.
it?
It's a thin shell. It pops. One thing I liked about this drum, and I think the guys, Mapex, we put a video out a couple of weeks ago, like an overview video. I don't want a drum to be one dynamic. I want it to sound beautiful at all different tuning ranges. This thing sounds great detuned, like real New Orleans second line stuff, like the shuffle stuff, or you can crank it and play all the drum and bass stuff. Because you know, when some drums you tune them slightly low and they generate these weird overtone with the wood and stuff, and that's why we mess so much. We played around so much with the venting options on it, and it didn't bark or bite at any frequency. It just like there it is. And yeah, I owe my huge amount of gratitude to Bob Terry, to Russ, and to Martin, and to Jeff Mulville and those guys for just having that faith in me. You know, what a just trusting me to be the face of this. It's I don't take it lightly, and I'm super proud of that, and we'll always be proud of that.
But you've really, listen, you have worked hard for this. This is not, listen, you put some serious time into your craft and to all that you do. So that's something which I want everyone to understand. You have to earn that. And you have earned that. You earned that so well because you've proven yourself to be someone that can perform and produce at a high level all the time, whether it's performing, arranging, or even the idea of manufacturing an idea for a standard. That's fantastic. Thank
you, man. Thank you so much. And yeah, I'm very proud of my association. You know, I'm not one of those guys that's going to come and say, oh, endorsement, and then go to and then hold something else the next day because they're going to pay you more money or blah, blah, blah. I'm very loyal to the people there. And, you know, Mapex have been amazing. Peisty still continues to be amazing. Roland, Aquarian. And above all, you know how this game works. They're friends. They're just friends. And, you know, once you build that friendship and that trust and that bond, I know they've got my back, you know, and you know, everyone uses that term family and this and family, but with the people I work with, it feels like a family because I'm going on. So I know, I can message Martin and say, Martin, I got this, I need this, diva. So, you know, it sounds like Celine Dion on a message, but I know he's got my back, and it's not just because you get free gear. It's not about that. It's for a record that needs this on it, and it's going to sound great. It's simple as that. You know, it's not about the amount of gear you have, but I'm very lucky. I know how to look at it. Yeah, of course, I've worked for it and continue to do so, but I still feel very lucky and very privileged.
Needed in today's world, which we need to see more of. So you're a great example of that and how humble you are.
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Well, I think you have to be, you know. There's enough idiots in the world, Dom. You know, what's the point in being and you know, we've seen on certain drum chairs where people are a little bit frosty, to say the least. I don't want to be that guy. I want to be the guy that's accessible. I want to be the guy that people go, geez, that was serious. He's ripping it up. But I want to be the guy that can shake the hand at the end of a performance or wave and say, thank you very much. You know, I'm very appreciative of the people that have put me there in the first place. You know, otherwise I can do all this hard work for no reason whatsoever. I don't have a support network of, I don't like to use the word fans because that sounds really, really, you know, ego driven. But if you have a support network of people that are buying the albums that you're playing on or going to the concerts that you're playing at, that means the world. That means the absolute world, because without them, I'm just in a room playing drums, you know. So I'll always be eternally grateful for that. Well, and, I mean, I can't believe the albums I played on. I've just finished the Steve Hackett album, which is like, that's insane, you know, just this here, you know.
Now, what was it like? You guys, obviously, there's no touring going on until maybe possibly sometime next year. So he wrote the music and sent you the music, and you started putting this together.
Everything I've done, apart from one session this year, like 19 albums, all being a file share thing. Sometimes you'll have somebody on Skype in the room behind you watching, which is the weirdest thing ever. So I can't just go to work in a t-shirt and pants anymore. I have to get dressed up. So yeah, you'll have these guys. Like I've done a couple of wild sessions, like extreme sort of sessions, and you'll have 3 or 4 guys on the room watching you do the take, and then you'll bounce the Pro Tools or Logic session over to them. They listen to it within 10 minutes, and it's like, that's so weird. Can you change bar this? Can you do this? Can you change that? Yeah, of course. Okay, log on. Let's go again. done, finished. That's it. It's that diversity. It's that sink or swim thing again. It's crazy. It's crazy. But I hate the phrase "the new normal" because there is no normal. You're always looking forward or diversifying. So it's always never stand still. But at the moment, the recording side of things has been just insane, like really insane. And I'm not one for really advertising my services. I'm not aggressive in any way. It's just like, oh, Craig's at home, he's got this set up. It'd be great to play with him, great to collaborate. Can we do this? And some of the stuff I played on, I like two of the Steve Hackett guys, the great Jonas Reingold, Swedish bass player, and Rob Townsend. We put this album together project together called The Backstage, and it's got Pat Mastelotto on there. It's got Tom Brislin on there. It's got Carl Orr on there. It's got all these. We did this crazy jazz fusion thing, and we got the Lord Alge brothers to mix it, and that came out, and that's gone absolutely wild. It's just like, we just did it in our rooms, just sent it around and said, hey, Marco, can you play on this? So we got Miniman on there to play some stuff. And, just trying to be different, Dom, just trying to have fun with music when the world is full, and trying to provide a little bit of positivity in a sea of just grayness right now, Otherwise, what's the point?
Where they say, if you build it, they will come. Well,
I hope so.
It really is that. And also the fact that of this new normal people speak about. I think what you've done, which is so great, you didn't wait for the new normal. You designed the new normal.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe, man. I don't know. I'd never really take stock of what's going on in my little bubble, as it were, regarding what I'm achieving or what I'm doing. I simply see the music industry now. Success is simply getting by and paying the bills. I really do believe that. And how lucky are we that we can bring our passion to people and fortunately keep the roof over their head. That for me is success right now. Anything else that comes off the back of that is a complete bonus. And it's a gift, a real gift. But right now, I never take stock of what I don't get a chance to take stock because I'm my own worst critic. I'm really my own worst critic. And nothing is ever good enough, or nothing is ever like, yeah, I slammed that today. I might be proud of a few things, but I know I've always got work to do. And I know that, and that's one of the reasons for kind of removing myself from social media a little bit since this pandemic. I didn't want to be that guy, like, check me out, I'm doing this, check me out, I'm doing that. Because there's enough of those already. We don't need that. And when I post, I want to be someone that's spreading a bit of positivity. Like, come and join me for a masterclass. If you can't afford it, come and pay what you can afford just to come in. Don't go without. Or, can I call you for 10 minutes and just have a chat? Are you okay? Simple things like that mean the world to people when the glass is firmly half empty right now. So all I try to do, man, is just is keep pushing myself as a musician and keep driving forward as much as I can. And if I can inspire a few people along the way, whilst my own personal development is growing, I'm so grateful for that.
Boy, it's amazing that, just to hear you talk. And I think what you've done is your humbleness, your humility really is what's keeping your feet clearly on the ground to want to push yourself. But I got to ask you, you're extremely positive, and you are, we all have our challenges in life of what we have. What motivates you? How do you keep at this level all the time? How do you fire yourself up to come in that studio and want to produce at the highest level?
I look back on I guess a previous life where I would be in an office getting shouted at on a phone in a suit and tie, where I have fruit and vegetables thrown at me as a delivery guy because they were really snobbish and posh and didn't like what I was wearing. Or I'd work at a car garage and got my keys thrown at me by various musician celebrities back in the day. And I always look back to the various other jobs I've had just to simply to survive and think, well, I never want to go there again. And if I have to go there again and drive a car or go and work in a supermarket, whatever I've got to do, then that's fine. But I want to do everything it takes not to go there again, because I remember how it made me feel. And when I sit down to express or sit down to create or sit down to really put my stamp on some musical history with some of the artists that I'm playing with, I'm so lucky. And will I ever get that chance again? I don't know. And, you know, I'm living right now when that session is in, or that live tour is in, or this, you know, I get one chance, like it's like the clicks on for 5 minutes. Wow, what a thing that is. Like, I'm getting to play jazz prog fusion with Adam Holzman and Nick Beggs, like to the max, with this ultimate freedom for me to really express as a musician and really show the true me, rather than playing pop on a stage. Really express and go wild. I don't know many musicians that have that. So I always try and think of that and how grateful I am, really how grateful I am. And every time I'll sit, and I may be tired and I may be a little bit exhausted from doing like a masterclass on a Monday, coming in and doing the admin, then going to work and getting some projects down, or working with my R&D guys in Japan, working on instruments. How lucky I am that I'm not getting fruit and vegetables thrown in my face or getting told where to go on someone's long lawn, you know? So, and it's just that musical development that, you know, I didn't have an easy path to it. I turned pro 3 or 4 times. And I just want to keep playing at the level I'm at for as long as I can, and stay fit and stay healthy, and try and play as much golf as I can.
You know, your level of gratitude is inspiring, and I want everyone to kind of really understand that's those are great core values, and those are great qualities just as a human to have, that allows you to really, and it allows you to really kind of to be compassionate and feel what other people feel, and to really kind of deliver them, not only artistically from a drum standpoint or a musician standpoint, but just from a human element. You're able to reach people at such a higher level. This is what we need more in this world, to bend the world to a better place, as we say, for sure.
I think you're right. You hit the nail on the head with bend the world, not reshape it, just bend it, bend to fit, you know. Yeah. There's enough negativity day by day with what's happening in the world. And, you know, it is quite negative, you know, and this is before you get on drum forums. So if we can just add a little bit of positivity and educate people, you know, it's okay. I mean, we talked about trolling me and you on camera, off camera, didn't we? And it's okay if you don't like something to walk away, because you probably feel better for it, and the guy at the end of his message will feel better for it. It's okay. You don't have to tell somebody they suck. You know, what world do we live in? How is that acceptable anymore? You know, be nice and be kind. Just, you know, if you're liking what someone's doing, even if they've been playing for 20 minutes, we've all had those guys that have come in on the first or second lesson nervous. What a huge step that is, and what a gift and what a journey that could be for them. Be positive, be kind, and just spread a little bit of enthusiasm and passion for what you do. And if you can just put that in someone else's life that's struggling with music or lost their way, we're we're in such a fortunate position, me and you, as educators of this wonderful instrument, you know.
Well, you do just that. When it comes down to being nice and kind, you are a leading example of that, Craig. And for that, I thank you so much. You know, to have this opportunity to sit down with you. I want everyone that can hear our voice and see what we're doing, go down there, go to your website, CraigBlundell.com. Go there, find out about the masterclass, get involved, sign up, be involved, step into Craig's world, because this is really a place of kindness and happiness. And I want everyone to step into that world and enjoy that.
Oh, bless you, Dom. Thank you. And you know what? When this craziness is over, we should probably do something together, I think, really. Be the longest clinic tour ever for like 70 million hours of music, but whatever. We can have some fun.
We'll go out and have fun, and we'll fire everybody up, and we'll hit it globally for sure. I'm with you on that one for sure.
I'm in. I'm absolutely in.
Thank you so much. On behalf of Mapex, thank you so much. And all the guys like Mark Bennett that helped put this together. Bob Terry joined us here. You mentioned Jeff Mulvihill, all these great people. Martin Potts, Duncan Williams. These are great, great people that are a part of a team that are allowing us to do what we do globally. I thank them all so much. Craig.
Tom's frozen. There he is. There you're frozen. There you're back. You're back.
Am I back? All right. Thanks so much. We'll touch base real soon. Stay well.
Thank you, guys. Take care.